Coming to you from Rochester, Minnesota,
Or do you think about me like I think
our
about
town.
you? Is it just me? Or does the world stop spinning when you step into the room?
Welcome to Our Town, the show about Rochester. I'm Nicole Nfonoyim-Hara, and today we're kicking off our Rochester City Council candidate discussions with our Ward 4 seat candidates. Each candidate will be able to have an opportunity to share in response to some of the questions that I'm going to be presenting during this time. And since we have a lot of ground to cover, I am going to ask that each candidate spend maybe 30 seconds to about a minute responding to each question. Ward 4 covers the area of Southeast and parts of Northeast Rochester, and we're joined today by candidates Kelly Kirkpatrick and Katrina Pulham. Welcome to Our Town.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So there's a lot going on in our world, and I just wanted to just start us off by just hearing a little bit about both of you, if you could just share a little bit about yourselves, and then maybe as part of that introduction, tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from your constituents in the community in the ward. We'll start with you, Katrina.
So I'm Katrina Pulham. I am a business owner here in town. I own Aaron Sandy, the trampoline park. Before that, I've spent most of my career in banking and finance, and I am a mom to two boys, wife, and grew up just outside of town here. So grew up in Casson, but I always worked here in Rochester. And one of the biggest things right now that I'm hearing from people is people feel disconnected from the city right now. A lot of voices aren't being heard. People just want to be heard. We want to come together. People want to have input in a lot of the decisions that are happening right now. And I feel like people just want to find new ways to connect with our city officials. And they really want to see city officials get out and be a part of their neighborhoods. Right now, there just seems to be that big disconnect, and hopefully we can get that back.
How about you, Kelly?
Thanks, Nicole. I'm hearing lots of different things from sections of Slatterly Park. I'm hearing that public safety is becoming a real issue. There's some gang stuff going on in the evenings, and they're concerned about that. Although the bike lanes were kind of purviewed and really promoted as a really awesome thing. There's one business in the downtown area that's really struggling. All of their parking meters were taken out for the bike lanes going both east and west on Center Street. So there's a backlog of traffic happening right there between Civic Center Drive and First Avenue, excuse me. And it's just really difficult for them. In my particular neighborhood, East Side neighborhood president, we're working on the issue of the roundabout that's going to be going in at 11th and Center. We're excited to be getting the water in at MLK Park. There's just a lot of things going on in Ward 4. And then, of course, in the Slatterly Park area, there's the DWSA small area plan that's going through. So just a lot of things are going on in Ward 4 right now. And just glad to be here. There's a lot going on, and I'm a high energy person, and it's nice to be able to just interact with everybody and all the organizations that I kind of tend to work with, and trying to make good change happen. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, thanks. Did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I was born here, graduated high school here, actually came back in 1975. My parents traveled around a little bit in the late 60s when I was just really, really young, but came back in 1975 in 5th grade. My mom came back as a single mom, and she started going to college to become a nurse at St. Mary's. But fun little fact about me, the first place we lived in was an apartment back behind National Bushing, which is actually underneath the government center. So I used to run around underneath the government center when it was a little neighborhood back there, and we played in the confluence of the river in Bear Creek all the time when the river was much cleaner in the mid to late 70s. And yeah, where that beautiful mural is right there on the bridge, the skyway from the government center over to the parking ramp, we kind of hung out in that little water stream that came out, and yeah, that's kind of my old stomping ground right there.
That's great. Well, thanks a lot, Kelly. Katrina, you brought up communication, and obviously, Kelly, you wouldn't know all of those issues happening in the ward if it weren't for communicating with constituents. So my question is that, how do you think the City Council can work to improve transparency and communication with the community? And what would you specifically recommend? We'll start with you, Kelly.
I actually think the city is really stepping up their game, and I really applaud what they're doing. Polko, when they put Polko up last week, they used 4 different languages, which is awesome. They did it in Arabic and Spanish and Somali and English. So that's really great. I think getting out the word to people about how Polko can be used either on your smartphone or a laptop, I think it's great. Then there's, our neighbors, they're spreading the word about neighborhood pockets, and people can form their own neighborhood associations. All of the city council members they can be reached at any time. And then there's all the meetings, they're available online. You can find those. You can call the city clerk's office at any time. So we've got a lot of great one-way communication going on. I think we just need to ramp it up to just get more information from the people so we can have a nice form of two-way communication going on. That's what I do.
How about you, Katrina?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that we need to do is find a way to connect with people more naturally. People are busy. We're all busy in our daily lives, and you can't keep up with what's happening. You expect and you hope always that the people who you elect are going to be doing the right things, but people want their voices to be a part of the decisions. And when you represent your ward, you represent everybody. What Polko is doing is great, and they're trying to be more diverse and hit more people that are in different parts of our ward. But the problem is it's still not, the people there don't know about these polls when they're needed. It's been brought up to do an app. I still think that's a great idea. If we could have, something that is on your phone, and if you want to receive updates, things that you might need to be polled on, or any kind of topic that might be coming up, like the roundabout, or tell us your opinion. What would you like to see, happening in the 63-acre lot over in our small business area plan? This is what was presented. What are your thoughts? Because not everybody can be at every meeting and at the time where, we are taking these polls. And so you only get select perspectives. So I think trying to find a more broad, open platform, and I think the app is kind of a cool way. Everyone has cell phones nowadays, and everyone's even my grandma knows how to use apps right now. So I think we're all kind of getting to that world. So I think it's a good step, possibly. I don't know what the cost would be or how we'd create it, but I know we have great companies like Collider and some other ones already in town that are really good at doing this exact thing. And I think we could put something together that would maybe connect people more directly.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
So of course, as I mentioned, there's this year's a lot different than many in our lifetimes because of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Cities are at the front and center, I think, of navigating a lot of things that happen on the ground around this pandemic. And so my question is, what would be some specific ways that you would work to ensure not only the continued safety of ward members and community members at large, but also recovery of our city and its citizens? Katrina, I'll start with you.
Right now, one of the biggest things, and I kind of spoke about this, I speak about it a lot because it's really important to a lot of the business owners, was the federal CARES Act funds that came out. It's really just making sure that those resources are getting to people that need them the most right now. Our business owners are really, really struggling, and winter is coming and it's going to be even harder. They're talking about plans to winterize outdoor seating, but the budget is $40,000. It's so low. You're not going to be able to do much with that. And most people aren't going to sit outside. It's Minnesota. We don't eat outside in the cold. No one likes to be cold. And so, it's going to be pretty detrimental to a lot of them. And I think it's hurting our downtown economy right now, especially they've just kind of had a trifecta of things hitting them. It's one after another, taking away of some of the streets and the parking has really hurt some of the business owners that were used to people just being able to pull up really quick and get in, the construction. And then you add COVID on top of it. And then, Mayo has pulled their employees out. So they've really been hit hard. It's kind of one thing after another. Right now, property taxes are increasing this year. My buildings are going up 9,000. So it's just like, for a business owner, I feel like it's very hard to survive. We need to focus on that. But then also there's a loss of jobs because the businesses can't afford to have people in town. So we're also facing a job shortage and people who can't afford their rent. We do have that eviction freeze, but that ends sometimes. And then what's going to happen after that for residents? So I feel like it's a trickle effect. And we haven't even seen the worst of it, I don't think, yet, because winter is coming and nothing's been really changed for the business owners. So we can't bring back people, and all these programs have an end. And that's what I worry about, is when the end comes and everything, November 15th, a lot of this ends, what's going to be left and what's going to still be here. So we have a lot of work, a lot.
Kelly, what are your thoughts around some specific ways to address this?
I think it's really important to just sort of hunker down. We have no idea what to expect. I've said numerous times that we're in uncharted territory. Even our federal economists, not even the best economists in the state, know what's going to happen, especially with the numbers rising. I read yesterday that Milwaukee is opening up their state fairgrounds for hospital service because their hospitals are filling up, and we're going to see the brunt of what happens over the winter time, because we are a cold climate and we're all going to go inside. And I'm wondering if we're going to have to quarantine and have a shutdown for 6 weeks again, like we did in the spring. We really have no idea what to expect. I do know that we're going to pull together. I see positive things happening in various neighborhoods. We've pulled together over the summer to do various activities. So I'm hoping we're going to be creative. And I think those neighborhoods are going to buoy the greater community together as residents. And I think that's where this needs to start, at the base of it. I always say that the residents need to come first, because the residents are the business owners. The residents are the CEOs. The residents are those emergency care workers, the first responders. They're the people that are cutting our hair and teaching our kids. So we need to take care of the residents first. And when they have enough money, when they feel good, then they can go out into the community and spend their money and supply the businesses. And then when the businesses are supplied and doing well, then they can employ more people. And it's a supply chain demand kind of a thing. And if we drop one of those links, it's going to be kind of yucky. So I think we need to hunker down, pull together, stay positive, and we got to make it through till March again, when the windows are going to come back open and we can get outside again. And yeah, I'd like to see the parks keep all of those paths shoveled so that we can keep walking and none of us fall down and break anything over the winter time. I think that's a key. If we can just get out safely on the sidewalks and on those paths to stay active, that might help us out.
Okay, thank you both. Well, we'll be right back to hear more from our Ward 4 candidates for City Council. Stay tuned.
Our Town is brought to you in part by the following amazing people and organizations:
the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, and the citizens of Minnesota.
And the members of KSMQ Public Television. Thank you.
Just me.
For more information about this story and other Our Town features, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter at KSMQ #OurTown, or ksmq.org/OurTown.
When I'm walking with a diamond, looking like $1 million and you ain't even trying. First class, loving my high like we flying. That's how it be with you and me.
Welcome back, everyone. Over the next few weeks, we'll be speaking to candidates for Rochester City Council ahead of the November election. And today we're joined by Ward 4 candidates for City Council, Katrina Pulham and Kelly Kirkpatrick. Welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for the first half of the show, where we got to hear just a few introductions from you and some thoughts on some of the issues. Before we went on break, Kelly, you mentioned, one of the issues you're hearing from the ward is around public safety. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about improving public safety. And the question is certainly complicated, a complicated one, and one that I want to put also in the context of the renewed struggle for Black lives and that conversation that we're having about racial justice and law enforcement and all of that. So I want to hear what your thoughts are about improving public safety while also promoting ties, stronger ties between all members of the community and our law enforcement. I'll start with you, Kelly.
Well, I think communication and education is really key. It's just been unfortunate to see what came about this summer. Sad, sickening, unfortunate. There's so many just feelings that come to play when I think about how things have progressed. And so when I think of public safety, I think of really local things, like, once again, walking on one of those bike paths, or the neighborhoods down Marion Road that want to use some of those bike paths, but they don't feel safe because there's woods there and there's no lights. not necessarily law enforcement there. They're just afraid of their neighborhood and they're concerned. When I think about public safety, I also think about the mini roundabout that's going on here, and all of the pedestrians in my neighborhood are concerned about that. So it's much broader than just what we think about that's going on with law enforcement. I really applaud Chief Franklin and his ability to bring the community together and energize the police force, and also Sheriff Torgerson. They do incredible things. I'm thankful for the extra income that we've got coming in because of the HIDA application. And that's not going to any administrative funding. That's going to real programming that's going to hope to educate. And of course, NNO was Tuesday night, National Night Out, which is a great community building kind of a thing. But we need to see what we can do as individuals to love our neighbor, to reach out. We need to go next door and knock on the door and introduce ourselves and get together a group of 10 houses and have a Zoom meeting and just talk, share, listen to each other and hear our stories, because we really aren't that different from each other. We're all struggling right now, and we all have highlights in our weeks that we can share, and positive things. But I think for the most part, our city's doing a really commendable job at managing, highlighting. I think the police department did an A+ job with the rallies that Rochester Community Initiative did this year. I know you were present at the first one, Katrina, but you missed the second one. And they were great. They let the rally and the walkers, the protesters, the peaceful demonstrations take as much time as they needed. And that's really awesome, because we have that right to protest, to rally, for free speech, for getting the word out and teaching and educating. So I think we're on the right track, and I don't foresee anything really unfortunate happening like happened in Minneapolis or Portland or down in Lowville. But we just, more love, folks. We need a lot more love, a lot more understanding. That's really what it's all about to me.
Thank you, Kelly. How about you, Katrina?
Yeah, same thing. It comes down to communication, trust, saying hi to your neighbors. Here, I employ about 40 youth normally, from all different backgrounds, and we all are a huge family here. So when a lot of this stuff first started happening, I asked them, what their thoughts were, what it's like inside, what it's like at Mayo High School. Do you feel a lot of this happening? What are you seeing? Some of them, yes, they would tell me stories about things that were happening that were just kind of, off, I guess you could say too, and they didn't know how to handle the situation. And others, were okay with their school and what their school was doing to address some of the issues. So it was pretty mixed as far as that goes. But yes, Rochester Initiative, they've done an amazing job. A couple of the people that have put that together are actually some of my staff members, and I talked to them pretty extensively about the work they're doing. One of them is now up in college in Minneapolis, and she's moving on with her life and doing amazing, and she'll do great. And then also, I have sat down with a couple people here in our neighborhoods that really focus heavily on this, and this is, focusing on making sure that what happened up in Minneapolis doesn't happen here. It's very important to them. And I asked them what their thoughts were and what ideas, they had. Like, what can we do as a community? What do we all need to do? What do we need to bring together? And one of the things that they brought up as a solution, and I actually find it intriguing and think it's a great idea, is trying to bring our police officers back into these neighborhoods in a fun way. So people know them by name and they're friends. So Officer Smith, I'm just throwing out a name, would be somebody, if he had to come to that home, they know him, they trust him, they know that he is a good person and he's, not going to harm them. And same thing, Officer Smith knows them and trusts them. And I think that's the gap that we could rebuild. They suggested that we maybe get our police forces in some of our neighborhoods and do like a once a month football or baseball game, and just let people get to know each other and talk and communicate and become closer in that sense. I thought it was kind of a fun, unique idea. I don't know if it's possible quite yet. I don't know what our RPU schedule is like in our neighborhoods, but it would be something fun to put together, a lot like National Night Out. In our ward, unfortunately, only 3 National Night Out block parties were put together, and only actually one of them happened. So it was kind of not a great turnout, and I would have hoped to have seen a better turnout for National Night Out, because it is important and we do need to connect and build those relationships and really just start working together. But yes, same thing that Kelly said, the biggest thing is it's in all of us. It's up to yourselves individually to do something good. We do need to just talk to people, ask people their stories. I've learned to greet people in Somali, because I ask and I want to be able to greet people in different language. So, I can say hi and say hi to somebody, and welcome them into my business. And it's just little things like that. People genuinely appreciate it, and it starts a world of conversation. And just getting to know everyone, like Kelly said, same thing. We are all alike in so many ways, and we just need to talk. And we will realize that pretty fast.
Well, thank you both for your responses. Switching gears a little bit, there's no shortage of things that require funding in the community, and this is a very broad question. It can go in many different directions, but I guess how would you, where do you think our top areas of focus for spending should be, and what would be your priorities around that if you were on the council? Let's start with you, Katrina.
Right now, economic recovery is important. We need to look at housing. I think it's the essentials. Right now, we need to get back to the essentials and really focus on those. Housing, transportation, right now, economic recovery. And even, some of our parks, they're looking at closing down 2 of our swimming pools and putting out other things. I think those are really important right now. We have a lot of families moving into our area, and we don't have the amenities here really for them to do anything. So we really need to focus on making sure that we are a community with the amenities. We need to keep our kids healthy, busy. When you are bored, I grew up in a small town, and I know this all too well. When you're bored, you'll go get in trouble, and that's inevitable. So we need to keep our kids busy, especially because right now they're out of school. They need things to do, and we need to focus on our children, education, and really uplifting them right now more than anything.
How about you, Kelly?
Well, funding is really essential to do anything, and we don't know what we're going to be having for money. The state is cutting back, and I really believe we need to be in a holding pattern right now. I don't think we should be taking on any more projects. I don't think we should be incentivizing the building or the development of anything just yet. I think we could get some plans in place to jump and to go and maybe apply for some funding sources. But as far as the city, I think we need to maintain public safety. I think we need to maintain keeping our infrastructure up right now and see what happens in the spring. Education, outreach to the community, to just teach about some of the unfortunate things that are going on, and make it kind of a conversation about how can we be better when hopefully things break free in the spring. But otherwise, no, I don't think we should be spending money on anything. The budget is going to be necessary for what we have to just maintain what we've got. I think we don't know what's going to happen this winter.
Thank you both. We're actually heading up to the end of our segment here, and I wanted each of you to have the opportunity in the next minute or two to tell us why you feel that you'd be best suited for the position to represent Ward 4 on City Council. We'll start with you, Kelly.
I'm running because this is an extension of the community work that I've been doing for the last few years. I have a leadership degree. I didn't finish my biology degree because my professors told me I should publish, and I'm very excited that a food security article is coming out on Rochester right now, working with immigrant cultures. It's going to be coming out this month. So I've actualized that goal. And yeah, I think this is a way that I can give back more to the community and just really enrich the leadership that I want to perform. I want to serve more on a deeper level. So I'm excited to be doing this, and I have loved everything that I've been doing for outreach with the community so far and making good happen. And I'm hoping to continue that. So if you want to learn more, you can visit my website at Kelly4Council, the numeral 4.org. And I'm also on Facebook, Kelly for Council. So please reach out. My phone number is there, accessible, and get out and vote, everybody. It's important. Get out and enjoy this gorgeous fall weather we have. It's nice out.
Thank you, Katrina.
Yeah, so I'm running really for change. I kind of already do a lot of what is needed just naturally. Because I own a business here, I talk to people from all walks of life across Rochester every day. They all come in here, and we've always had a welcoming space here. One of the biggest things right now is that we need to make sure that all voices are heard, and being a small business owner and having a finance background, it gives me a little bit of an advantage because I've already connected with all the business owners. I can connect with developers and builders. I can connect with the people in our neighborhoods and find ways to bring everybody together, because in order to move forward, we need to bring everybody together, and we need to make sure that all those voices are heard. If I am elected, I will be the youngest council member at 36 years old, and the only brick and mortar small business owner on council. And I think it's important. If we want to have inclusion and we want to have equity, we need to make sure that small business owners are also heard and that people can hear that perspective as well. And we need to make sure that our younger generations and our families also can weigh in and have a voice on city council. I love this community. I hope to continue working. I will always own this business, and I will always keep moving forward in what I do. But this is another step to really help try to connect people. I love to talk and communicate with everybody, and I think that this is a great way to put myself out there and try to help bring these bridges back together. So same thing, if people would like to learn more about me, you can go to Pulham for Council, number 4 as well, .com. And also I do have a Facebook page. It is Pulham for Council on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you both so much for joining us. I hope everyone has the opportunity to visit those sites, social media, to learn more about Kelly and Katrina's different platforms and the work that they're doing. Thank you so much for your time and your service already as you're campaigning. And thank you all for joining us today. We are going to be doing this all month long with different city council candidates. In the meantime, be well and stay safe. We will see you next time on Our Town, the show about Rochester.